Hello, welcome to Super Vibes. I'm Carrie, and today we're continuing with the focus portion of our Back to Basics series with a 30-minute gentle stress management chair practice. Today we're going to be working with the Drishti, or what is referred to as the Yogic Gaze. And this is really about focus. It's about the line of the eyes. So our attention is one of the most valuable things that we have. And when we allow the eyes to wander, we're stimulating the nervous system through that visual sense, receiving more and more information as the eyes move around. And this can create not only overstimulation, but also distraction and sort of rev up the nervous system. So control and focus of the attention are fundamental practices in the yoga tradition. So if we find ourselves in a state of overwhelm or feeling like we are really having a hard time getting grounded or settling into the present, working with the Drishti can be very helpful. When we control and direct the focus first of the eyes and then of the attention, this is using that yogic technique. So we're going to start with a little centering practice. Start seated. We're working from the chair today, so finding a comfortable seat. If you would like to work on the floor, that is also an option here. So we're going to ground the feet into the earth and feel the sit bones in your chair. For right now, let's keep the eyes open. My hands are going to rest in your lap, and just take a second to just let your eyes move around the room and just notice as you move the eyes around. Do it fairly quickly and expansively. So kind of an expansive gaze here where we're taking in all of the information. And then take a deep breath. And as you exhale, bring your gaze inward just enough so that you're kind of staring straight forward. And as you stare straight forward, maybe taking in some of the periphery, but without moving the eyes around. Let yourself be there for a couple of breaths and just notice how that feels. So as we bring the focus to a centered point with the visual gaze, the nervous system starts to calm a little bit. So let's just take a second to feel that settle in. So we have our expansive, hyperstimulated Drishti where we're looking around, and then we have this center Drishti where we're staring into just the space straight out in front of us, maybe just taking in a little bit of the periphery, but the gaze is still. And then take another big inhale. And as you exhale, drop the head just a bit and take the gaze down. So as you take the gaze down, we're coming to reducing that visual stimulus even a little bit more. So as you keep the gaze fixed up on that point, slightly forward and down, and let the breath move. Just notice how that feels. So we're continuing to reduce that visual stimulus, and that brings the nervous system into an even softer space. Now let's take another inhale. And then on your exhale, close the eyes halfway. So this is what we call a 50-50 gaze, or a 50-50 Drishti. And if the eyes are halfway closed, there's just a very minimal amount of information coming in through that visual sense. So the awareness is half inward, focusing on the internal, and half in the external. So as you hold this 50-50 gaze and the breath is moving, notice how that feels. And then we'll take another big inhale. And as we exhale, we'll close the eyes. Maybe even bowing the head a little bit more. So now, as we close the eyes, that visual gaze, that visual drishti is completely minimized so that we're only seeing what's behind the eyelids. So now the focus is internal. So let yourself take a couple breaths here and just notice how that feels. And as we close the eyes, we reduce that visual stimulation. We bring the awareness inward. Hopefully we're in a quiet, still space, so the other senses are also receiving very minimal stimulation, so that we can then really bring our awareness to the internal. So feel as this drishti moves inward, your physical body. Feel your feet on the ground, your legs and your sit bones connecting to your roots. And then from here, feel your long spine starting to maybe sit just with a little bit more intention as you lift the rib cage away from the pelvis and the spine grows a little taller. Let your hands come into a comfortable position. Feel the shoulders relax and soften the features of your face. The head is in this neutral position. And let your awareness move even deeper now as you focus in on the breath. So now the drishti, or the gaze, is internal and focused on the breath. And even here, if the mind starts to wander or your senses are distracted by some external stimulus, that's okay. That's normal. Just take another breath and bring that drishti, bring that gaze or focus back to the internal, back to the breath. Now when you're ready, take a deep breath. And as you exhale, come back to your 50-50 gaze. So you're opening the eyes about halfway. Starting to invite that visual stimulus back, but keeping it soft and keeping it easy. And when you feel ready on another exhale, go ahead and open the eyes with the gaze straight forward. Quietly letting that visual stimulus come back into presence, maintaining a sense of calm in the nervous system. And we're going to experiment. We're just going to move through a few seated yoga postures and experiment with the gaze or the drishti. So from here, let yourself inhale to get a little bit taller. Then as you exhale, go ahead and turn the head to the right and let the gaze follow. So as you turn the head to the right, let the gaze move to the right as well, almost like you're trying to look behind you. And allow the focus to be right in the eye line, to the right and behind you. Try to keep the gaze fixed so you're not moving the eyes around. And if you hear some noise or there's some external distraction, see if you can hold your eye line, hold your visual focus. And let the breath continue to move. Keep the shoulders and the jaw relaxed. Keep the spine nice and long. And when you inhale, bring it all back to center. And then as you exhale, take the right ear toward the right shoulder. Just keep the eye line or the Drishti gaze straight forward here. Notice if the eyes start to try to expand that stimulation into the periphery, and continue to bring your focus back to that eye line straight ahead. Keep the breath moving, the shoulders relaxed, the spine tall. Then on an inhale, come back to center, and as you exhale, take the left ear toward the left shoulder. Feel the right side of the neck gently opening, gazing straight forward, nice neutral eye line, breath moving. And when you feel ready, on an inhale, bring the head back to neutral. Now, we're going to slide forward in the chair just a little bit so you can get kind of on the edge of the seat for these next couple of postures. So as you inhale, feel the spine lengthen up, get nice and tall. As you exhale, come onto the right tippy toe. So you can stay right here if this is enough. If you want a bigger stretch in that low back and hip, bring your hands underneath the thigh and start to draw the knee in. So if you are working with a pregnant belly, it's helpful to take the knee out to the side a little bit and pull it in. And then just take that right ankle and move it around. And let's take the Drishti or the gaze down to the foot here. So notice the foot as it moves around, maybe wiggling the toes, pointing and flexing the ankle. And then let the foot come to stillness and just keep your gaze fixed on your right big toe. Then take a big inhale. And as you exhale, release the right leg. Take the gaze forward. Inhale, create space. Exhale, left tippy toe. If you want more, you can go behind the thigh. Again, if you have a pregnant belly that you're working with, bring the knee slightly out to the side and around that belly. You can also go for the shin if you want a bigger stretch, and then move that foot around and take the gaze down to the foot. Notice how the nervous system responds to a foot that is moving. And then find stillness and fix the gaze upon the left big toe. Simply holding your focus to your pedicure, or in my case, lack thereof. Then when you feel ready, on an exhale, release the left leg. Take the Drishti gaze forward. Inhale as you create space in the spine. Exhale, just let yourself be there. Notice if the eyes want to move around the room. Try to keep them focused straight forward here. Now let's do a twist, and we're going to experiment a little bit more with this Drishti gaze and the nervous system. So on your inhale, lengthen up through the spine. Feet can stay flat on the floor, or if you'd like to cross the right leg over the left leg, you can do that. The left foot is going to be nice and solid. If you're crossing those legs, just root down through that left foot. Your left hand comes to the leg, The right hand can go on the chair, anywhere that's comfortable for you. Then we're going to inhale to create more length through the spine and start to turn that lower belly. So for now, we're going to keep the chin in line with the center of the chest. And as the head turns along with the rest of the body, let the gaze follow the turn of the head. So low belly turns to the right, then rib cage, then chest, then shoulders. And then inhale, get a little longer through the neck. And as you exhale, turn the head. Let the turn of the head be very slight and gentle. And then let's come to that more expansive Drishti now. So let your eyes move around the room very quickly as the head is turned. And as you do this, notice how the nervous system responds. So moving the eyes around quickly into big space really kind of revs up that nervous system. So now take a big inhale. And as you exhale, relax and soften through the eyes and find a fixed point over the right shoulder, holding the gaze to that fixed point. So even as the gaze is straight ahead at that fixed point, we're still taking in periphery. So the nervous system will settle a little bit, but it's still somewhat active through that visual sense. Now take another breath, and as you exhale, take the gaze down. So even though the head is in that neutral position, the gaze moves down to a fixed point on the floor. And we'll take another breath. Exhale into 50-50 gaze, so closing the eyes halfway. Taking a couple of breaths there. And then another inhale, this time on the exhale, completely inward with the gaze. So the eyes close. We move our Drishti completely inward and back to that breath. Now let's see if we can keep the eyes closed and unwind. So keep the eyes closed. Go ahead and unwind the head, the shoulders, the rib cage, and the belly, and then uncross the legs. Let yourself be seated here with the feet flat on the ground, maybe gently bowing the head, and let's bring the hands to the heart. So feel your roots through the feet, through the sit bones, and then feel your rise through the rib cage and the spine. Gentle tuck to the chin. Take a big inhale. As you exhale, open to 50-50 gaze. So the eyes are halfway open, halfway closed. Half of the awareness is inward, half of the awareness is external. And maybe you're just barely seeing the tips of your fingers. And take another deep breath. As you exhale, open the eyes, fixing the gaze on the middle finger of those hands. Our Drishti, single point of focus on those two middle fingers, and we're simply breathing. Another big inhale, and as we exhale, we'll open the eyes and lift the gaze fully straight forward in that single line of focus, taking in some of the periphery. Relax the hands back into the lap. I just find it fascinating to play with all of those different levels of visual stimulation to the nervous system through playing with the gaze. I hope you find it fascinating too. Let's do the other side. So as you inhale, once again, creating space. On the exhale, crossing the left leg over the right if you're choosing to cross the legs today. Remember, those feet can always stay on the ground if that works better for you. So the right hand is going to come to one of your legs. Your left hand comes to a comfortable spot in the chair. The inhale lifts us up through the spine. Then as we exhale, we're going to turn the low belly, keeping the chin in line with the center of the chest for now. The gaze simply follows the turn of the trunk. We'll turn the rib cage, the chest, the shoulders, and then last, very gentle turn of the head, letting the gaze follow. Starting to move the eyes around, just like we did on the other side. So start to let the eyes move around the room fairly quickly, noticing all the different things that you see in the room. And as you do this, we're revving up that visual stimulation. Notice how your nervous system responds. Then take a big inhale. As you exhale, begin to find that single line of focus, fixing the gaze somewhere straight behind or over that left shoulder. So you're still getting some periphery here, but we're not moving the eyes around. Then take another big inhale. And as you exhale, take the gaze down. Fixing the gaze to a single point, slightly forward and down. Starting to clear some of the periphery. Then another inhale. Exhale into 50-50 gaze, closing the eyes halfway. Awareness internal and external. Feel the breath. And then finally, with this exhalation, closing the eyes, moving the focus completely inward. Feeling the body and the breath. And even here, noticing if your other senses start to pull focus. Continuing to redirect yourself back to what you see behind those closed eyes. To the still, quiet space. To the breath. And when you feel ready, keeping the eyes closed, start to unwind the body, head, shoulders, chest, rib cage, belly, back to center. Keeping the eyes closed, uncross the legs. Let's bring the hands back to heart center. Take a moment to bow the head. And we're going to do this in 3 breaths this time, so a little bit faster. You're going to inhale. As you exhale, come to that 50-50 gaze. Take another big breath. As you exhale, open the eyes, but keep the gaze down so you see that middle finger. Take another inhale. Exhale, this time lifting the gaze straight out in front of you. Another big breath. Exhaling, release the arms. Now, as you inhale, we're going to reach the arms wide and up over the head. So as you do this, I want you to follow the hands with the gaze. So the hands are are down, so the gaze is going to be down. We're going to reach the arms forward. Follow the fingers or the thumbs up as you reach over the head. Exhale, hands to heart center. Follow the thumbs with your eyes. Let's do 2 more of these. Inhale, follow the thumbs with your eyes, forward and up. Exhale, back to heart center. Keep following the thumbs. Do this one more time. Inhale, keep the gaze fixed on the thumbs, coming all the way up. This time we're going to exhale, arms wide, closing to 50-50 gaze as we fold forward, wrapping the arms under the legs, 50-50 gaze as you bow the head. Then we'll take another big inhale, and as we exhale, closing the eyes, dropping the head, slowly letting yourself rock from side to side. Letting the head sort of sway with the legs. Keeping the eyes closed, the gaze inward, the breath moving. Let yourself gently rock here from side to side. Gradually letting yourself sway back to center, relaxing the hands, the arms, the head, the neck. And when you're ready, on an exhale, draw the navel in, bring the hands up to the thighs. Go ahead and open the eyes to a 50-50 gaze. And take another inhale. And as you exhale, open the eyes completely. Now, as we unwind the spine, we're going to slowly lift our Drishti, our gaze. So draw the navel in, slowly roll up 1 vertebrae at a time. As the shoulders roll back, the head starts to come up, the gaze starts to lift. Let your focus be straight forward. Take a moment here just to feel your body root and rise, finding center as the belly breathes. Now we're going to do something a little different to finish today. So what I want you to do is take the gaze forward and down. So your eyes are not closed. It's very helpful for us to learn to be relaxed with the eyes open in an intentional posture. So we generally learn progressive relaxation lying on our backs with the eyes closed, relaxing into support. And once we have that down, it's very potent to learn how to be relaxed while we are upright and eyes open. So we'll take the gaze forward and down, again feeling your roots and your rise. Letting yourself soften all these parts of the body that don't require tension for you to sit upright. So feel the gentle intention in your alignment and let yourself soften around that. As you breathe out, can you soften your toes, your feet, your hands and your arms? Can you relax the buttocks, the shoulders, and soften all the features of your face? Will the shoulders get really heavy? The jaw relaxes. The neck finds some ease. Soften the lips and the lids of the eyes. Relax the cheeks and the temples, the forehead. Keeping that gentle gaze. feeling the breath. So what we can learn from this exercise is in those moments of feeling overstimulated, we can notice what the eyes are doing. Where is the gaze? We can take a moment to focus the eyes to a single point, to take a few breaths. Sometimes we need to completely close the eyes and take a few breaths. This is a really wonderful and very portable stress management tool. Whenever you feel ready, take a moment to bring the hands together at heart center. Inhale, finding that inner lift one more time. Exhale, bowing in. The light in me sees and honors that same light in each of you. Thank you so much for joining me here today. May your gaze be ever powerful. Thank you so much. Namaste.